Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we'll be playing some Boros Convoke, a very aggressive aggro plan in the early stages of the game that tries to overwhelm the opponent incredibly early and tries not to see the late game very often or at all. I hope you all enjoy, and if you do, please be sure to subscribe. Other than that, we'll just hop right into the games. I mean, this is what dreams are made of, right? Turn 1, turn 2, something, I don't know. Sure. Only play 19 lands, it'll be fine, right? I think it's fine here. We hit a land siege, is that easy? Oh, we're against old Greasy Gang. That's pretty good. Gotta attack, we gotta be aggressive. Do that. So I think they realized that I was trying to see if there was a way that I could play reinforcements to somehow cast that. It's just not realistic. I think they realized that I'm too wide. Even if they do play Grease Fang, bring that back, they won't have enough creatures in play to prevent lethal. They'd have 3 blockers. I play another creature. We have 7 attackers. Get there anyway. Sweet. Just like that, we're 1 game down. Go first. I have Thopter, I have Epicure. Then I have Relations into Loxodon. We can just cast next turn, not a big deal. No, we'll be 1 short. So next turn we want to Spirit and then play Thopter. I'm gonna bring again. Unlikely to block. So Spirit. Thopter. Attack. There's even a thing there. I feel like snapping off a block is just hands down what they're gonna do anyway. An invasion. We got Flyer 2 and 1. If they want to block, they can, I guess. We'll do this. Sickness, summon a sickness, taster, everything like that. That's pretty good. Gotta double check, make sure it's what we want. Attack and attack. Now all we need is 1 mutate creature, 1 silly little goose, and it's all over. Play another invasion, which generally gives us good protection here. The Karn. Another Land War Elf. Another... Elvish Mystic / Land War Elf. We don't find it. What do we... Definitely loot for it, I think. We have blocks. We have Karn. I don't know. But I was definitely going to loot, try to find a mutate. I don't think I had lethal. They have 3 blocks on, say, 1, 2, 3. Worst case are 3. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Take like half their life total now, and they find a shrine, or they just don't really block at all. They find a shrine, start pumping out mana. They have like 8 there. No, not sure. What goes first? We have Spirit into maybe Ornithopter or Spirit, Spirit, then Ornithopter, and then maybe like the Knight. We'll have a mana, and we'll have like 4 creatures there. Black doesn't help us out, because that means fatal push options are available. Maybe even getting Thought Seized here. Here comes Tapland. It is everybody's favorite deck, red-black. Play a Spirit, see if it gets removed. I also am aware that this deck is generally not considered a fun deck because it's so high rolly early game. It's definitely tough to kind of deal with. You sack the creature immediately, deal with that, sure. Play Fable. Alright, well, let's do some stuff, I guess. We'll do this. We'll play Thopter. Make a thing. We'll play other Thopter. Make a thing, and then we'll just do this. I thought about Glee Demolitioning and doing that, and maybe I should have. Pick up to 2 creatures. Do Thopter and Raven Inspector. Play the Thopter out at this point. Now we have pop the Raven Inspector, play Gleeful Demolition on the token. And the reason I took Thopter here is because if we do find the mutate aspect, we can definitely take advantage of that. And these will all be flyers and be able to put a lot of pressure down. No blocks here. Also go for the 13 and pick up the Thopter. Pretty nice. Took out the big 4/4, which doesn't really do a whole lot now. The Spirit's kind of the thing that does anything of relevance. This boy right here. They pick it up now. Makes sense. Understanding that Thopters need something to have value. Getting stops, I assume, is for the blood token. Boost tokens on. We'll play Epicure. We'll actually target the blood token because the investigate token is just a draw. The blood we have to discard, then draw. Although we could get Meathook Massacred, and that's gonna feel fantastic. Honestly, I'm for it. If I get Meathook Massacred, I do. Just back. So, a tip when you're playing against this deck, if you're afraid of kind of the mutate and the out of nowhere damage, you can actually hold the Fatal Push and Fatal Push the creature that we try to mutate onto. Because if the creature that you try to mutate onto is gone, the mutate trigger won't happen. The creature will just enter the battlefield and do nothing. Then we'll be forced to find another one. I have to go for another Fable. There's a Loxodon. It's definitely what we needed. Go ahead and draw as well. The giant killer. But do anything here. I'd just rather be the white source of the white mana. I'll just use a white mana here. Our Thopters are a little bit bigger. They have some pressure to be applied. I guess I should have used that. Maybe. Sure. I'm not convinced on playing this, but I don't know what holding it does. Maybe like remove the Bone Crusher next turn, but I can always just tap it. Removing the Bone Crusher with a spell will get it killed. If I just wait, however, I can just tap it, and because it's not a spell, we won't take any damage. Discard both, including another Fable. They're feeling the pressure of our wide board, maybe digging for a Meathook Master. Bone Crusher down. They can make a copy of it. Apply some pressure. We can always throw a 1/1 in front. They wait to do it during combat. Yeah, so We buy Giganta actually. Buy Giganta. We'll play this after. We'll move to combat now. My problem is they have like the combo following that up. So hard. It's fine. Just whittle them down here. And instead make a copy of Bone Crusher, of course. Funny that it uses the regular art when you make a copy, whenever you have the... There's the other art. This attack tells me that the cards in hand are weak. I'll let that happen. If they were going to use a meat hook or something, they would have attacked all out. Or made more copies of this. Another Epicure, not great. Don't hit a land, so... I guess Epicure in that point is playable. Giganta won't be. I have like 7 good hits. Not really one of them. There's only so much time we can stall here. Attack with a Loxodon too. We're gonna be attack with Loxodon, so if they want to make a copy of Bone Crusher to block with it, they're not gonna be able to make 4 more copies of the reflection on instep. Not something they really went into there. As you can see, they put a stop on instep to make copies, but now they're not going to be able to. At least I assume that was what the plan was. Now they have multiple copies. They can bring in 2 Bone Crushers. Total power of 12 plus the other 2 2s, which is what they should do. In my opinion, they should get aggressive. See if they have any follow-up plan like a Shieldred. I don't think I would play Shieldred post-combat. They're good. They're good on it. They can make... I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures. 3 of them are unblockable. I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures. So I'm getting 5 through. Don't know how long I can wait. I don't think I can wait very long at all. Make sure I just lose here. Get it all out. Maybe they'll kick the game into the sun. I don't know. Let's keep attacking for 3. They'll go back up to 8, so it's not like it'll do much now anyway in that regard. They should make a ton of copies of these, and then on the end step copy the Bone Crusher, but they can only make 1 copy. Just make a copy of Bone Crusher. The most power. And in a spot where you're trying to get as much damage through as you can, I think make a copy of Bone Crusher would be better. Because I have to block it. Oh, it's just still scared. I mean, at this point, I'm letting it come through. I'm not going to block the 2. I'm just playing, like, kind of playing so passively and scared. It's like, it's giving me outs to draw the mutate. Or something like this. No, because I actually have to use my mana here. So Convoke, 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 Convoke. I want to keep my mana available in case I get non-convokers. Or I get 2 convokers. mutators, I guess. Mutate. We want to mutate our Thopter so it can't be go for the thwarted. Limit the outs as much as I can. If I mutate this on the bottom, it'll be a bigger creature, but not by much. So it should go. Oh no, it'll still get flying, so it'll go over. I forgot it gets all the abilities, so now everything's buffed, and now my only chance is just go all out and swing, make them figure it out. By playing passive, it allowed us to kind of get farther and farther down, but they had tapped out to play Shieldred, of course. They activate Castle, they take 2, but gain to 2 back, go to 8. Could have done it in response, especially if they find like a push here. They don't even go to blocks. They're not interested in figuring out the math. They were just dead in the air technically, so they didn't have to figure out the math, but sure. There might have been something I did wrong. I'm not sure. Maybe I was being too critical of them at times, but also not sure. It's kind of hard to tell what you think your opponent should do. Doomwake, I would assume a Doomwake fan, but sure. Yeah, we'll keep this. Keep this unlocked for sure. We get to do the fun stuff. We play a Thraven Inspector, make a token, play land, cast a Demolition, play Loxodon, buff the entire board. Swiftspear is going to look real sad in the face of it all. With this here, I'm more inclined to just go ahead and play the Thopter down. I know we missed a little bit of value here, but I want to be able to mutate onto the Thopter. Let's buff everything. Buff the whole board. Then get our Thopter down as well. I guess I could have buffed the Thopter. A slight mistake there. Yeah, it's definitely a mistake on the fact that this could be a little bit stronger, less weak, invulnerable to like play with fires and things. And then of course, just not punished. Mutate onto this. We'll make it go over so it'll still have flying. And we'll attack all out and just close out the game. Okay. This is one of the main reasons like this Boros Convoke deck, especially in best of one, can definitely find itself being very frustrating to play against, because they played 2 creatures and I attacked for an insane amount and it wasn't even close. One of those first, we have Valdarian, we have Reinforcements, we have Thopter. Yeah, I think this hand's to keep. And where Dangus coming untapped, Battlefield Forge coming tapped after. Is more or less, do we play this now or do we play it later and have Ornithopter having attack possibilities? But I think we also can just wait with our Loxodon. You're definitely a little scared of that because we know that the Lotus Field Lotus Field keep their land keep deck is pretty strong. So we'll play land, Thopter, Reinforcements on instep, I would assume. We have a second Thopter, so that always feels nice. Can I just do it all here instead? I think I can just do it all instead. Throw on Reinforcements now. You have your mate disappear? No, okay. Holding it maybe for some other stuff. Thopter? Thopter. Which one of these are we more willing to allow to get countered? If it's the Lotus Field version, they don't play very many, if any at all. And they didn't counter this, which would have shut off the entire turn. I think this is more important to have resolve than the Loxodon kind of is. So let's just do Loxodon. Oh, it resolves. Okay. Also, this buffs our board entirely. Okay. Is it Light Pulse? Or just Blue-White Flash? Bant Flash? Now it's screaming to me that this is like a Light Pulse deck, in which we won't really care about this. Huh. There's some sessions, sure. You have a way to give it flying? Or some type of evasion? Because I will block a Skrelv. A little turn late. I'll snap that block off. They're going to draw a card either way, whether that hits or doesn't hit. So we might as well just attack it out now. Let's play this. What would we like to go to combat for? That's fine. You seem okay. Getting more and more to the board as we get along. We'll take this. And I guess we just take the other knight. That was a heavy hit. We had one land in that pile, so we're likely to find another one. They have a 4/4 back. They have a Skrelv. They kind of committed a lot to this creature to just attack it away. Not entirely sure. Maybe if they would have attacked before they played their Skrelv, I'd have been a little more inclined to leave it behind. But as we see now, it's definitely Light Pulse. Combat Research. We have Ward. We get to find another thing. Could be Kaya's card where it's like if it dies you get exiles, it returns, but if we find a land, this game's over. First strike. Doesn't have lifelink, correct? No, I forget how many symbols out it'll actually go, but we'll pay 2 life here, mutate onto our Thopter, our flyer. Everything's going to get everything. It'll go over. This is a 1/1 counter, so it'll also be bigger. It'll also get pseudo haste because it has no summoning sickness. And we'll attack out here. You can block 2, which will block here and say here. They'll take 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, I think. 17. No lifelink here, so they'll end up falling. Aggressive, I suppose. Not a whole lot to say. Just kind of play out our stuff and turn it sideways. All right, so we can talk about this deck a little bit. Things that we kind of like, things we don't like. What do we don't like? This deck is really strong at best of 1, and it's kind of like annoyingly strong because it is the deck that, like, if I could just say like a couple more times. But it's annoyingly strong in the fact that it does just have these unrelenting turn 3s that you have to deal with whenever you're on the draw that feel so like the game was already determined before you even queued up. So it's kind of like annoying to play with. It's not a bad thing in terms of the deck's bad in that regard. It's just really strong at best of 1, so it's kind of annoying that it can come out of nowhere. But also a lot of times I think people get into the value train too much, so they play it kind of bad. I might have fell into that trap a little bit today. I'm not entirely sure. But it's more or less like do your thing and just start putting pressure on. Leave your creatures behind to maybe fill up after a Void Wipe or something. Or if you find this guy, go all in. Commit. But the better starts is Raven Inspector, Epicure. I would say Inspector is just a little bit better because Knight and Venerated Loxodon are both white creatures. Therefore, the Convoke on the Inspector can actually pay for the white mana part of these. So it's like slightly better in just that one instance. Other than that, it doesn't really matter, especially whenever you lead into a Demolition. Because if you play Inspector, you play Demolition on turn 2, you'll have 4 creatures, maybe plus a white mana, but say I guess say you accidentally tap wrong, you only have a red available. Having the Inspector will allow you to Convoke for this, and you'll not have a problem there. And then, of course, this guy is kind of one of the mainstays, and the reason this deck goes from kind of like mid-deck to being super overpowering on turn 3 is when it mutates. All your creatures get a +2 and +1 until end of turn, and the way mutate works is this will enter on a creature, and for example, like an Ornithopter that we like to play, and attaches to, it'll be flying and it'll kind of get haste, not really haste, but mutating doesn't reapply that summoning sickness because the creature it mutated with has already been summoned and the sickness is gone. Other thing as well if you mutate one of these onto another one, it should be +4/+2, so it gets exponential whenever you start mutating, because it says whenever this creature mutates, a creature in play will mutate as much as the creature mutating onto it will, so they will both trigger. And it's something to think about if you really need to go over the top or they have a lot of life. Like Angels is a good example of that. Other than that, the deck's just really, really fast. Obviously, late game you kind of cry. Meat Hook Massacre is a card you wish you would never see in your entire life. Because Knight and Venerated Loxodon, as good as they are, they're not going to take you home on themselves. You have to rely on all these 1/1s and small creatures and the buff and the value that Knight provides to keep pushing all your damage through. Again, to be an companion, just it's free, so we do it. Like, there's no reason why not to, especially in the late games whenever you have to be, when you're playing like those best 3 matchups. You kind of have to get to that point where you're grinding it out, especially in paper. This is just a really good value card to have, and it's also just a big 5/5 that sometimes after the War of Attrition goes out, you come out on top just because you have one extra card. Other than that, the deck is fun. It really is. It feels a lot like, at least to me, and whenever I watched it, it feels a lot like Old Affinity, where you kind of like dump your entire hand by turn 2 or 3. So it's kind of cool in that aspect. Other than that, if you don't like to play super fast, or you're okay with, well, I guess if you're more or less okay with just playing super fast and being vulnerable to one board wipe, this deck's sweet. This deck is super cool. It's definitely a really cool take, especially in the format where a lot of it is mid-rangey. Like, you have the mono green, you have the Rakdos stacks that can take a while to win and whatnot. This deck finds itself in those slots of being that super aggro deck that mono red used to fill, but invested 3 kind of comes short in. But I hope you all enjoy. I like doing this. Hopefully you like watching. Other than that, I will catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.